The MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost. Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com to get started today. Welcome, everyone, to the MLB Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is Tuesday, June the 6th, currently 5:05 on the East Coast. Here to handicap the games on or for Wednesday on the Diamond. And joining me here to help me break it down, you guys know him as the voice of the NBA Gambling Podcast. And here on the MLB Gambling Podcast, it's playoff Lonte Otani. What's going on, my man?
Yeah, man, everything's going good. Looking forward to getting to some of these pitcher matchups. Some really good ones. I guess about 4 or 5 really, really good ones. So looking forward to some of these series kicking off also.
Yeah, man. Really good matchup start the week here. So I think it's been pretty good baseball, man. I know me and Dylan were talking offline before we got on to the pod here that I feel like we're at least I'm reading the board real well, at least for this week. I know I had a rough week last week, but hopefully everybody's been cashing with us for the pod picks as far as our lock and dogs have been going for the podcast. But also joining us here to help us break down the Wednesday betting card. You guys know him as a voice on the NFL Gambling Podcast, on the WNBA Gambling Podcast, and of course here on the MLB Gambling Podcast. It's Dylan Rockford. D-Rock, how you doing, buddy?
What's going on, guys? Good to be with you. Got some good games to go over, and last week 25-13 up 10 units. So yeah, we're seeing the board well. So make sure you guys just follow along all on our tally site. We give out our plays as well. So just keep following along.
Yesterday I had a good day on tally site. I think I put in 9 picks. The ones that I bet and I really did like ended up going 7-2. So hopefully we can carry that momentum into the Tuesday night schedule, and of course here on the Wednesday night schedule for the MLB day. Captain Insano already know what's going down on Wednesday. We'll touch on that in a little bit. Jordan Lyles Day, my favorite day of the week, as always. You can make money with him within about 5 minutes or so if you're betting the Yerfies for Jordan Lyles Day. Did get some news across. We'll briefly touch on it before we do get into the games, because we do have 5 games on the Wednesday schedule that we don't know who is pitching in those games. So we'll just skip over those. Doug gives us some time here briefly at the top to discuss the Jacob deGrom news that did come across the board here. Unfortunately, if you're a Rangers fan or even a fan of Jacob deGrom, and unfortunately for Jacob deGrom as well, man, he will be undergoing Tommy John surgery. Will miss at least, I believe, a minimum of 12 months recovering from TJ surgery. So I know a lot of people when he did sign with the Rangers, that all baseball fans knew that that contract and Jacob deGrom came with injuries. I know Dylan, you're the Mets fan. You're all too familiar with Jacob deGrom and the injuries that he's had to deal with. But as a fan of baseball, it sucks to see. It really does, because we know how great Jacob deGrom can be when he's fully healthy. I mean, he's won multiple Cy Youngs. He's a dominant pitcher. So I'm hoping this isn't the end of the road for Jacob deGrom. But I know he's getting up there in age as well. And now having to deal with Tommy John surgery, it's going to suck. And I don't know, we'll get the guys' thoughts here as well. We were talking about what this kind of means for the Rangers as well. But Lonte, let me start with you about the Jacob deGrom news. Thoughts on it? How does it really affect the Rangers going forward, if at all it did, because he wasn't with the team for about, I think, a month or so, even more than that?
Yeah, sad, like you said, for him just being a fan of baseball and a fan of his. Showing just like he's been dominant man for quite a while. I know the Mets are kind of glad they dodged that bullet when they did, but I mean it's just sad to see just constant injury after injury. We don't want to see injuries in any sport, the best going against the best. But I mean, for him to sustain this injury, I knew something was bad when they said he was going back on the 60-day IL.
Yeah,
I thought something was up, but. Yeah, man, it's just sad. I mean, and as far as for the Rangers, I mean, I think you touched on it. I don't think they'll be quite they won't be. It won't be quite big of a hit, being that he was only with them at the beginning, and they got a rotation of. I mean, all these guys are just doing well. I mean, we touched on it. Perez, Evaldi, like all these guys, Dunning, Gray, all these guys are pitching really, really well. Now, if that was to happen, like say, towards the end of the season, they would go out. Maybe that would affect them because those guys wouldn't be used to going up and being, I guess the 3 to the 2 and the 2 to the 1. In that case, but man, overall, I don't think the Rangers will be affected at all, just simply because he wasn't there.
Yeah.
So hopefully they got something on track, like I know Doug was mentioning before we came on. Hope they got something in the contract that had to do with injuries or games played, because that's a lot of money to be paying him for him to what did he only pitch, like 3-4 games, right?
6
if
games.
that. Yeah, 6 games. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, man. So that's tough. I feel bad for him. Hope he comes back, man. I mean, injuries and age, no matter what sport you're in, all the time, he's gonna get you. So let's hope that he bounces back from this, and hopefully we see him. Hopefully we see him again soon. So I wish him a speedy recovery.
Yep. Dylan, I know you're the Mets fan. Your team obviously does dodge the bullet with Jacob deGrom, but thoughts overall about deGrom?
Yeah, very unfortunate, because when he is healthy, he's probably, if not the best pitcher in baseball, right up there. But since 2014, he had 22 starts, 2015, 30, 2016, 24, 2017, 31, 2018, 32, 2019, 32. And then from there, 2020, he had 12, 2021, he had 15. Last year, he had 11. And this year, just 6. So he hasn't had over 35 starts in over 10 years. So
yeah,
it's going to be tough. And Sato did mention in the chat, Evaldi and Tyon also had 2 Tommy John surgeries. So it is possible to come back and be a starter, but I do think he would be better suited to come out of the bullpen. But Lonte was right. I think they won't be affected at all. You got Andrew Heaney, John Gray, Dane Dunning, Martin Perez. Nathan Evaldi's pitching really well. And don't forget, they got Jake Odorizzi coming back soon in the second half of the season. Mm-hmm. So I don't think they'll lose a step. Their offense is probably top 5 offense in the league right now. So very unfortunate. Mets dodged a bullet, and that's why you see they only wanted to sign him for 3 years and not give him all that money. But you got to think the Rangers have some protection in the contract somewhere.
Yeah, 100%. Just crazy to think how, if Jacob deGrom was healthy, with how well the pitchers are changed right now, how good of a team this would be going forward in the future, not only for the playoffs, but also possibly for a World Series run. I know currently they're sitting around 14-1, depending on the book, but give credit to the pitching rotation for what the guys have been able to do with John Gray, with Nathan Evaldi. Dane Dunning has been really good as well. I know Martin Perez has kind of been up and down as far as the season for the Texas Rangers, more solid than not in his career. I'll also touch on this as well. I think we all kind of expected Alek Manoah yesterday against the Astros to be sent down to the Florida Complex League. From what I've been reading, this is like the dumps of the dumps. I mean, not the dumps of the dumps, but it's like below like single A, or like close to like single A. Yeah. So that's exactly what it is. I'm not sure if I read this correctly, but that's maybe where the Blue Jays spring training is based out of in Florida there, but I'm not sure. I'll have to double check that, fact check that. But I think we saw this coming. I mean, you guys have any thoughts on Manoah, Dylan?
Real quick, you could see it from a mile away. Just the last 4 or 5 starts. Yeah. The whole month of May was abysmal for him. I don't like to take personal shots, but he did come over seriously overweight this season. I think that's a huge issue. I think the pitch clock is a big issue for him as well. So there are a lot of things, and I think this is the right step. We're not saying he's not a major league starter, because he definitely proved it last season that he is. He just needs to work on some things down in Florida. So do that, get some confidence back, lose some weight, and then come back, because this team does need him.
Yeah, 100%. Lonte, any thoughts on Manoah?
Yeah, I think D-Rock hit it on the head with, as far as the weight and the pitch clock. I thought those were 2 of the main issues that he was having. Maybe the weight is like kind of taken away from some of the things that he can do velocity-wise, and him being able to get into his pitches a little bit earlier. So I'm not sure if that's why. But I think the guys on MLB tonight, I was watching, and they were like kind of highlighting the game. It was one of the only early games on last night, and they said maybe an injury. They were going on an assumption that he just can't be this bad, but trying to like play a little injury thing. So I mean, I don't know, maybe, but what I saw was exactly what D-Rock saw was the pitch clock being effective and him not being comfortable getting into his stuff later. And not being able to adjust, and also, the weight thing was a big thing that I saw. But I wouldn't be opposed to maybe some injury, but I'm pretty sure he'll get it back. Like D-Rock said, proved it last year that he could do it. Now they're going to have to rely on Kevin Gausman a lot, and they were already struggling with the bat.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm pretty sure they're going to be buyers at the deadline to try to get an arm or two in.
I mean, Kevin Gossman have been pretty good. Kikuchi showed flashes, but I think he's really the pitcher that we saw last season where, a lot of people were fading him in certain spots. But yeah, definitely nothing. I don't think it's injury related. Maybe it's just something between the ears. And like you guys said, maybe it's something from a physical standpoint about, him dropping a few pounds here and just kind of getting refocused. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's happened to some of the best pitchers in the league, where you kind of go down, just kind of try to fix your mechanics, see if you can do it, and then come back up and kind of have a fresh start again, maybe to the second half of this season. But we will definitely keep an eye on the news and maybe some other pitchers that will be getting sent down just because they have been struggling. All right, guys, before we get to the Wednesday schedule, let me tell everyone about Edge Boost. This episode is supported by Edge Boost. Edge Boost is the world's first bet now, pay later Visa card. Edge currently offers up to $2,500 in betting advances, which can be extremely valuable tool. Imagine what you can do with an increased bankroll. Get down on some of your favorite futures without tying up your bankroll for months. Double down on a favorite bet you like, or even use to create an awesome middle or even hedge. Edge Boost isn't some sleazy loan shark, as they charge 0% interest. Do you know of a way you can access more money to place on your favorite bets without paying any interest? Well, that's why Edge Boost is here. No more hassling your friends or family to get that extra money to bet on games or, create that middle opportunity. Edge Boost is here. Edge Boost can also be a part of a responsible gambling plan, as you can set up daily, weekly, or monthly limits across all your betting accounts in one place. So do us a huge favor, support SGPN and grow your bankroll by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to sign up. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge. Must be 21 years or older to use. Problem gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, boys. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, we're missing pitchers for about 5. We'll probably skip over those, but I'll mention it as we kind of do go along. But first game on the board for the Wednesday schedule, we have early start, 12:35 Eastern start between the Oakland A's and the Pittsburgh Pirates. We're currently seeing Hogan Harris is going to get the start for the Oakland A's, and Lonte Contreras gets the start for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Looking at the line for this game, give me 1 second. Let me refresh my page here. The Pirates are a -165 home favorite, +140 on the money line for the Oakland A's. Total is set at 8.5. Run line -1.5, +125 for the Pirates, and +1.5, -145 for the A's. D-Rock, take us away.
Yeah, you can still find some 9s out there over on DraftKings, so that's where I'm headed. I'm going to go under 9 in this one. I just feel like 9's a little too high. I made my total 8.3, so both teams really not scoring a bunch of runs. Hogan Harris, he didn't pitch all that bad in his last start against the Marlins. 5 innings, only gave up 2 runs, no walks. He did strike out 5 batters. The game also ended 4-0. Now for Contreras, not the best start against the Cardinals, even though they did win. He got kind of roughed up a bit, but thankfully the A's, they're only hitting 206 off a righty. So I think this could be a good spot for him to get his confidence back. A little bounce back start here for him. So game ended 5-4 yesterday, just hit the 9. So I think we see a lower game here. I think the Pirates keep it rolling. I don't want to lay 190 with them, but I like the under a little better here.
Lonte. Yeah, man. So it's going to be quite simple for me. I mean, Pirates 6-game win streak. They're playing some of the best baseball. I think they are they back number 1 in the division right after last night?
I think they're tied or they took a half game lead or something.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I thought so. So yeah, man, they're a bet on team for me. Oakland is fade city, obviously. I'll probably lay the Pirates on the run line. Don't want to lay the juice on the 190. Pirates have covered 6 of the last 10 games as far as run line. Oakland's failed to cover in 7 of the last 10 run lines. 11 and 20 on the run line on the road. If I'm not mistaken, they haven't won a day game yet, right? The Oakland, they haven't won a day game and they lost 15 straight on the road. They've got the 5th highest K rate in the league. So back to what D-Rock was saying, I think that Contreras has a good game and he's settling in. So I definitely agree with the under. But as far as a play for me, man, I'm just going to be quite simple. We're going to take the Pirates on the run line at the plus price. I think they can come out and mash on a match against this Oakland defense.
I'm trying to find the exact stat for the day games for the Oakland A's. I want to say it's like 0 of 20 something. I'm trying to find it. Give me a second. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, here we go. So 0 and 23 in day games as a dog of 130 or more. That's the exact stat for
I thought so.
Oakland
I thought it was
A's.
like that.
Yeah, and again, credit Ralph Michaels. He's a great follow with some of these trends that he does put on his page. So definitely a great follow if you haven't already followed Ralph Michaels on Twitter. Yeah, I agree with you guys. I'm not going to add much more to it. I just think the Pirates have the better pitcher on the mound here. Again, 0 and 23. That's not a trend that I want to fade right now for the Oakland A's. So definitely taking the Pirates here on the money line and possibly the run line as well. Next
Munaf.
on the board, let's go over to
Real quick, Lonte made a good point last week about I could hear you about the NL Central possibly putting a ticket in for the Pirates at plus 900. They've already shot up to plus 550 at some books. So I hope you guys listen and put it because I did. I put a little something
I put
on
that
it
in.
at plus 900.
Yeah.
I think they're live, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, especially how bad that NL Central division has been, right? And Captain Sano pointing it out as well. I mean, that NL Central division is wide open. I mean, I don't think anybody expected the Cardinals to be this bad thus far this season. Cubs have kind of been trending water. Brewers, same thing. Again, the offense has just been the same issue for them. And pitching has kind of been their downfall as well, as shocking as that is. So the team that has really stepped up has been the Pittsburgh Pirates. I mean, they're playing with house money because nobody or a lot of people, including myself, didn't expect them to be here. I think Noah and both Mal were high on the Pirates coming into the season. So hopefully they can continue it, man. That's some great value right now, at least even at 9-1 before even the season. I'm sure is a huge number, but even at 9-1 when Lonte gave it out last week, now odds are down to around 550 across some books. All right, guys. Next game on the board at 4:10 Eastern start. We got the Seattle Mariners taking on the San Diego Padres. Current lines for this game, I'm seeing George Kirby is going to get the start for the Mariners, and Michael Wacha gets the start here for the Padres. The money line is even money for the Seattle Mariners, and the Padres are a minus 120 home favorite. Total is set at 8. Run line plus 1.5, minus 190 for the Mariners, and minus 1.5 plus 160 for the Padres. Lonte, take us away, my man.
Yeah, so I like two things in here in this game, and I like the under, and I like Seattle. I thought the price is pretty appropriate. I would probably make it more so like 110, like flat on each side. But getting plus money with Seattle, I'll take it. I think it's going to be a defensive type of game. Both of these teams have top 5 defenses, and both teams are struggling offensively. Seattle's batting 226, which is 26 overall. They've won 4 of the last 5, so they're winning with some defense. Kirby's been solid on the road. Usually goes about 7 innings. He's been 7 innings at least in at least 5 of his games. 5 of the last 7 starts. I'm sorry, and his last start versus New York. The Yankees. Sorry, he had 3 hits and no earned, 8 scoreless. He had 1 run in 3 last 5 road starts. So he's been pitching well. And Waka also, he started off, a rough end of March and start of April, but he's coming into his own. He finished May with he finished May 3-0, 0.84, I'm sorry, ERA, 7.3 Ks per nine, allowed 1 or 0 runs in 4 of the last 5. So, like I said, man, I'm expecting a defensive game. I love the under, and I lean to Seattle, thinking it should be more so like 110 or so. I don't trust I know San Diego got it going with the bats yesterday, but I mean, as inconsistent as they've been all year, I don't expect that to keep going. So with a good defensive team like Seattle, Kirby on the mound, like I went over his numbers, he's been solid on the road. I like Seattle in this spot.
I love the under in this game as well. Michael Walker hasn't allowed more than 2 earned runs in any of his last 6 starts. The last time he did give up 3 or more were in back-to-back starts all the way back in April 20th and 26th. But since then, against the Reds, the Twins, the Royals, the Red Sox, the Yankees, and the Cubs, hasn't allowed more than 2 earned runs in any of those starts. And like you mentioned, Lonte, George Kirby has been really good as far as the season. I know he had 1 bad start against the Pirates. Other than that, he's been really, really solid, especially on the road. So under 8 for me as well in this game here. Dylan, what do you got?
Yeah, under as well as a team ride. This might be one of my favorite plays of the day. I made my total 7.68. I actually got an 8.5 earlier in the day, and I jumped all on that. I thought that was egregious, to be honest. Pirates and unders are the gift that keeps on giving. 19 and 39 toward the under this season. They've gone under this number in 4 straight games. They only hit 211 off of righties. And I just think this is a great spot for George Kirby. I only made the Padres a minus 105 favorite. I think there's value there with the Mariners. I think they're alive. He's great on the road. And I think he could build off that last start. He had a really good start against the Yankees, a very good hitting team. So I think the Mariners are alive, and I also love the under with you guys.
All right. Next game on the board. Let's go over to 6:05 Eastern start. The Detroit Tigers, they are going to be taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. Reese Olson gets a start here for the Tigers, and Zach Wheeler gets a start here for the Philadelphia Phillies. Phillies a heavy home favorite of minus 250, plus 210 on the money line for the Tigers. Total is set at 8 with a little bit of vig towards the over at minus 120. Run line minus 1.5, minus 125 for the Phillies, and plus 1.5, plus 105 for the Detroit Tigers. Dylan, take us away.
Yeah, another total for me. I like the over actually. 8. I got it at even money. I made my total 8.3, just above the number, but I'm just out on both pitchers. Wheeler does pitch better at home, but he just gives up too much hard contact. Ever since the beginning of May, he's allowed 7 to 8 hits per start. If you continue down that path, eventually you're going to get lit up, and that's exactly what we saw his last start against the Nationals. Now, with Reese Olson, this is only his second start of the year. And I feel like the bats have kind of woken up for the Phillies a little bit these past few games, and not to mention they hit righties really well. So I just saw the first game of the series yesterday. It went over the total. I think we see a high scoring series in general. So 8 seems like a little bit too small for me, especially at even money. I'll take the over here.
Lonte.
Yeah, man, I don't have much in this game, to be honest with you. The bats have woken up, especially Castellanos. He's been hitting the ball really, really well. I know our friend Adam Rosenberg loved Bryce Harper today, so maybe they can carry that on. But I mean, Detroit's 16 and 14 on the run line on the road, so I might be looking at them at that plus price. I don't really trust the Phillies just yet. Need to see it a little bit more. But like I said, not much. I'm with D-Rock on the over. Slight lean for me on that first 5 over also. Thinking that, if those bats get going early, they could get to Reese and cause some havoc. So, but I still like Detroit plus 1.5 on the run line.
Yeah, I mean, I can't lay a minus 250 price with Zach Wheeler. He hasn't been very good thus far this season, especially at night. If you take a look at his day and night splits this season, he really prefers pitching during the day and afternoon games. He's 4-1 with a 2.83 ERA during the day. At night, 0-3 with a 7.71 ERA. All 4 of his wins have come during the day. So maybe something to write down that, if he does get day starts going forward, that's the time that you want to back Zach Wheeler. But yeah, I could see runs in this game. Phillies bats, I think, got it going on Sunday against the Nationals, and then I think they've been able to carry that into this week in their matchup against the Tigers. So over 8, I would agree with you guys as well on that play. Before we continue the capping Wednesday games here, let me tell everyone about Underdog Fantasy. We're brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Best Ball Mania 4 is here, and Underdog Fantasy is giving away $15 million in prizes, plus plenty of ways to win with the NBA, NHL, and MLB with their player prop parlays. Head over to UnderdogFantasy.com and use promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN. All right, boys. Next game on the board here we have. Let's go to a start. Kansas City Royals are in Miami to take on the Marlins. Jordan Lyles gets the start for the Kansas City Royals. Miami Marlins are going to be sitting out Edward Cabrera. Edward Cabrera and the Marlins are a minus 165 home favorite, plus 140 on the money line for the Kansas City Royals. Total set at 8.5, with Vig towards the over at minus 120. Run line minus 1.5, plus 120 for the Marlins, and plus 1.5, minus 140 for the Royals here. Lonte, take us away.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's simple, man. It's Jordan Lyles' day. Although he did look good against Colorado, 8 Ks in 5 innings and 1 earned. In his last 5 road starts, he's allowed 4, 7, 7, and 4. He's allowed 6 runs per start. Both teams bottom 5 in runs per game. So I'm slight leaning to the under, but I don't know if I can just play an under on Jordan Lyles. I mean, Cabrera has been like excellent. He's allowed 2 runs or less in his last 7 starts at home, allowed 1 or less in 3 of those. I mean, his competition hasn't been the best. I think he played Oakland once and Washington twice, but still, I mean, he's pitched well. He's had 8+ Ks in the last 3 starts. So I would lean to an under in the first 5 versus the full game. Miami, if Jordan Lyles can pitch a little better, I guess, so he could somewhat emulate what he did against Colorado. Miami's bats outside of a few people, man, just not as lethal. So I'm liking the under here. I would also lean to Miami, but of course we're not playing on Jordan Lyles.
No, we're not. Dylan, go ahead about Jordan Lyles. I'll chime in after Dylan gives his handicap.
Yeah, I mean, instead of waiting around, like Munaf said, just play the Yurfie. I mean, it's cashed so many times in Lyles Star. I don't have the number. I know Munaf will have it, but like Lonte said, the Marlins are playing good. I think they should win this game. I'm just not going to lay 160 with them. They're 8-2 in their last 10, including 4 straight. I think the fish get to them early. You could take the Marlins in the first inning at minus 135. I think that's a look as well. First 5 minus a half is at minus 144. That's also a look. It's a little chalky for my liking, but Marlins should win this game, maybe a unit and a half type play, but going to be on the Yurfie, and I'll take the Marlins as well.
11 of 12 on the Yurfie this season for Jordan Lyles. And Lonte covered it, right? I know he did pretty good at home in his last start. He gave up the 1 run. I think it was against the Rockies. But other than that, he had a really solid outing. But on the road, it's where he's gotten into trouble. And I do like Edward Cabrera here in the Marlins, just because you just take out his home and road splits. It's a night and day difference. At home for Edward Cabrera, 4-0 with a 2.77 ERA. He's only allowed 8 runs in 26 innings pitched. And on the road, 0-4, 5.91 ERA for Edward Cabrera. So he's comfortable in Miami in his home stadium. I'm going to keep fading Jordan Lyles here. I do like the run line here, minus 1.5 for the Miami Marlins. You get that at a nice price right now, around plus 120, plus 125. So definitely shop around for the best number. Don't hate the Marlins team totals either in this game. Again, get on that Yurfie as well. 11 of the 12 starts have cash on the Yurfie for Jordan Lyles. All right, guys. Next game on the board, it is going to be the Minnesota Twins and the Tampa Bay Rays. So this is one of the games where I do not have a pitcher for the Rays. Do either of you see any update for the Rays yet?
I don't know. I don't.
Dylan, do you see anything?
No,
okay.
I don't.
Hold on, let me look.
I thought it
Who's
was going to
ahead,
be
Lonte.
Zach Eflin.
Yeah, I thought it was Eflin too.
So I thought
let me
Eflin was
see.
going on Tuesday night, right? Or tonight, I
Um,
should say, since we recorded a day earlier.
Yeah,
that-
he is.
Yeah,
Now
so
that
I don't
check.
see a
is he
picture
tonight?
yet.
Oh yeah, Eflin is tonight. Hold on. I thought I saw they were pitching Chirinos. I see Lopez and Chirinos.
Okay.
Okay.
I did.
I mean,
Yeah, I didn't handicap this game just because I didn't have a picture for the Rays. But
yeah, I mean that had to just now come up. Like it had to
Yeah.
just come up within the past 7 or 8 minutes.
yeah,
I got a little on it. I don't know if D-Rock has anything on it. I got a little something on it.
if you want to, yeah, I didn't have anything on this game. But if you want to, you got something. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, so it's another where I like the under, man. I think that, Minnesota's offense has struggling. Both of these defenses are elite, top 3 in runs allowed. Rays first 5 will probably be a look for me. They're 24-6-2 on the season at home on the money line. The Twins are 7-13-8 on the road, so that's a good trend to look at. I think the Rays offense will put across 1 or 2 runs early on and stop the Minnesota Twins offense. I mean, it's not hard to do. They just don't have a lot of offense brewing right now. So, I mean, just something quick. That's all I had on it. I love the under. If I had to look for a side, I'd play first 5. Tampa at home, they're wagging at home. First 5 it's been money for me all year long. So that's a play that I'll be on.
All right. Dylan, do you have anything?
Yeah, no, I didn't have anything just because I didn't know who was going, but I agree. First 5 maybe is a look. Rays are just a wagon at home. I want to see who goes for them, but the unders play as well. Pablo Lopez kind of settled in a little bit as well. So yeah, if we could get like an 8.5, maybe 9, that'd be lovely. I'd take an under.
Yeah,
there.
see, I don't see lines. I just see the 2 pitchers listed. So the lines aren't up at all. I just see Lopez and Chirinos listed.
All right. Same case for the next game, which is going to be the White Sox and the Yankees. I do see Lance Lynn is going to get the start here for the Yankees. Sorry, for the White Sox. And the Yankees don't have a pitcher yet. Lonte, do you see anything on that?
I didn't see anything for the Yankees either. Let me double check. Vasquez.
I did see that Nestor Cortez did get put on the IL for the Yankees. Another pitcher.
So I see Vasquez, but I mean I'm not sure if that's 100% a go. I see the same thing. I see Vasquez and Lynn, just no line, but I didn't have much on it. I don't think Lynn, he hasn't pitched well on the road. I mean, he allowed 4+ runs in 3 of the last 4 games. I mean, the Yankees. Judge and Stanton's back, but the lineup still has some work to do. I'll probably play a New York team total just to stay on the safe side versus playing anything else.
Yeah, we did yesterday Scott discussed that Aaron Judge is more than likely going to be headed to the IL, and lo and behold, I think earlier today we saw the news that he is in fact going to be on the IL with I believe it's a toe injury for the New York Yankees. So the offense completely does look different without the reigning MVP in the lineup for the New York Yankees. Dylan, any thoughts on this game?
No, I can't back Lance Lynn though.
Yeah.
So hopefully we get I think maybe they open up at home, maybe -140, -145-ish. I thought it was going to be Johnny Brito, to be honest, to go for them, but if he does go, favor the Yankees here. I still think they could beat the White Sox at home.
All right, so let's get over to the next game where we do have a pitching matchup. That's going to be the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Washington Nationals, 7:05 Eastern start. Zach Davies gets to start here for the Diamondbacks, and Patrick Corbin gets to start here for the Washington Nationals. The Diamondback -125 road favorite, +105 on the money line for the Washington Nationals. Total set at 9.5 with a little bit of big towards the under at -120. Run line -1.5 +130 for the Diamondbacks and +1.5 -150 for the Nationals. D-Rock, take us away.
I hate to backtrack real quick, but odds just opened up for the White Sox and Yankees. Yankees -126, +108 for the White Sox. Over under is at 9. So give me the Yankees at -126.
Yeah,
I think that's a very, very generous offer. But yeah, for this game, D-back Snakes, give me the home puppy. I'll take the flyer with the Nationals. I only made the Snakes a -120 favorite. I got the Nationals at +135. I think that's very good value for Patrick Corbin, who's kind of been backable in the month of May. The Nationals, they've won 5 of his last 6 starts in the month of May. He hasn't allowed more than 2 runs at home in his last 3 starts. And I'm going to fade Zach Davies, he only had 1 start on the road. I kind of want to see a little more out of him. I know the bats have been well for the Snakes, but at this price, I think I just got to take a flyer here with the Nationals. So +135 at home. Give me the home puppy.
Monte, what do you got?
Yeah, it used to be, man, we could make a lot of money fading Patrick Corbin and Jordan Lyles on the same day, but Corbin's been, like D-Rock said, Corbin's been pretty solid over the month of May. I like the over more than anything. Arizona's been under team in the last 10 games, but with Corbin going, they might get a little bit more confidence with the bats. Offense should pick up. They've gone over in Washington has gone over in 6 of the last 10 games. So I would expect them to get the bats going here. Like D-Rock said with Davies, he's yet to pitch into the 6th inning of any of his 4 starts. So I kind of want to see a little bit more from him. It could get away from him. I couldn't back either one of these teams. So with that being said, I think both pitchers are, prone to having a bad day. So I would love the over in this matchup. Both teams don't strike out a lot, bottom 5 in K per game, so they're going to put the bat on the ball. With that being said, I think it's going to be a decent amount of runs in this game.
Yeah, I mean, Dylan talked about it. Patrick Corbin hasn't been too bad. I know he's allowed at least 2 earned runs in every single start thus far this season, but I mean, 2 earned runs isn't as bad as what he has been doing over the past several seasons. And he's been going at least 6 innings in a lot of his starts so far this season. I believe he's gone at least 6 innings in 7 out of his 10 starts thus far this season. The Nationals have actually won 4 straight starts with Patrick Corbin on the mound. Walks are concerned with Corbin in back-to-back starts. He has allowed 4 walks to the opposition. Did have a bad start against the Royals where he allowed 6 earned runs and 6 1/3 innings pitched, but the offense stepped up in that game for the Nationals where they did win 12-10. In the last game against the Dodgers, he did give up 3 earned runs in 5 innings pitched, but again, the offense again showed up. I believe that was against Noah Syndergaard, if I'm not mistaken, but that was a 10-6 victory for the Nationals as well. So not gonna back Zach Davies as a favorite here. I think I agree with D-Rock. I gotta take the Nationals at a plus price, even with Patrick Corbin on the mound for the Washington Nationals. Next game on the board, gentlemen, 7:07 Eastern Star. We got the Houston Astros in Toronto to take on the Blue Jays. Ronel Blanco gets to start for the Houston Astros, and Chris Bassett gets to start here for the Toronto Blue Jays. Looking at the lines for this game, the Astros are a +135 road underdog, -155 on the money line for the Toronto Blue Jays. Total is set at 9 with vig towards the over at -115. Run line -1.5, +125 for the Blue Jays, and +1.5, -145 for the Houston Astros. Chris Bassett has been pretty solid for this Toronto Blue Jays team. And guys, he's really going to have to step up with Alek Manoah going. Obviously, that's probably addition by subtraction, whatever I'm trying to say. You know what I mean. But he had 1 bad start, which was 2 starts ago against the Minnesota Twins, where he allowed 7 earned runs and just 4 innings pitched. But his last start against his former team in the New York Mets, he was actually really good. 7 2/3 innings pitched. He only allowed 3 hits, 0 earned runs in that span. At home in Toronto thus far this season, 2-1 with a 2.16 ERA. And over his last 3 games, 1-2 with a 4.50 ERA. He's allowed 9 earned runs in 18 innings pitched. But again, 7 of those 9 runs came in that 1 start against the Minnesota Twins. For the Houston Astros, it is going to be Ronel Blanco. He's been a guy that was coming out of the bullpen for the Houston Astros. And because of the injuries that they have been dealing with, in their starting rotation, they're starting him or they're trying him out in that pitching rotation. His last start was against the the Angels. 5 innings pitched there. He did allow 2 earned runs, but the Astros did get the victory there, 5-2 in that game. And Chris Bassett has actually been pretty good against the Astros in his career. Trying to pull up the exact numbers here for Chris Bassett against the Astros. So he faced them. Let's see here. So in his career overall, he's 4-3 with a 3.90 ERA against the Astros. Did have a start earlier this season against the Astros. I think that was the one thing that stuck out to me when I was handicapping this game. He had a really good start in that game as well. 6 1/3 innings pitched. He allowed 3 hits and 0 earned runs in that game for the Toronto Blue Jays. So I'm going to take a stab here with the Toronto Blue Jays in the first 5 innings. If you're able to find a nice run line price on the Toronto Blue Jays, I think that they can get a couple runs off of Blanco, and Chris Bassett, I think, should continue his success at home for the Blue Jays and against his Astros team. So I'll roll the dice here a little bit with the Blue Jays on the first 5 run line here, Lonte.
I don't have much to add, man. I'm like I told you guys like a couple episodes ago. I'm like heavily invested in the Blue Jays, so I'm trying to stay away from losing even more money than what I'm going to lose on them. But the way the Astros have been hitting the ball, I can't bet against them. I really can't. I mean, 11 runs. We saw what they did yesterday. 11, 9, 6, and 5. They destroyed the Angels in that series. I think it was earlier in the June, like a week ago. I can't go against the Astros right now, man. Altuve being back. And you mentioned the pitching numbers, so I won't go into that. But I would lean Astros if anything. But like I said, I can't bet against Houston right now with how the offense is looking.
D-Rock.
Yeah, Munaf, first 5 for the Blue Jays minus that half is at plus 120. So getting some good. Yeah, getting some good value there, but I'm with Lonte, man. Give me the Astros here. Plus 135 is outrageous, I feel like. I only made the Blue Jays a minus 110 favorite. I know Chris Bassett has been really good at home this season, but I just think the Astros are a much better team. Hitting-wise, pitching-wise, they have the better bullpen. Just overall, I just don't think the Astros should be this big of an underdog against any team, honestly. Maybe the Tampa Bay Rays on the road, but that's about it. I think we see some regression as well from Bassett, so I'll take the dog in this game, plus 135 Astros.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, anytime you get a plus price, I think I mentioned this on the pod yesterday as well. Anytime you get a plus price with the Astros, you got to take it. But I think with Chris Bassett on the mound, I think I'm more confident in that than really any other pitchers for the Blue Jays. I know Kevin Gausman has also struggled against the Astros, but it seems like Chris Bassett, who's been familiar with this Astros team when he was with the A's, he faced them, I think it's close to 10 times since 2018 or 9 times since 2018 when he was with the Oakland A's. And again, that one started earlier this season, which was in Houston, actually, was a good start. But we'll see. Maybe I'll fall flat on my face and can't fade the hometown team, but we shall see.
An angle, Munaf, real quick. He after the outing, his last outing against the Mets, he flew directly home to be with his wife, who had a child. So he has a child now, and you know how pitchers and athletes perform once they have a child. They go crazy. So that's an angle right there.
Fred Van Vliet energy coming in after having a child. So yeah, we'll see. I think that again, it's been a good start for the Astros. I know they absolutely blasted Alek Manoah in game 1. All right, guys, let's get over to the next game on the board. Let me get back to my odds here. We have a 7:10 Eastern start. The LA Dodgers and the Cincinnati Reds square off in Cincinnati. Noah Syndergaard, I should say, is getting the start for the Dodgers, and Brandon Williamson gets the start here for the Cincinnati Reds. Minus 175 on the money line for the Dodgers and plus 150 on the money line for the Reds. Total is set at 11. Run line is both minus 10 each way here. Who's got this game? Lonte, take this away.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, man, I love the over. I know we mentioned about the Dodgers having a good day today against Cincinnati. They were rested. I think they'll continue to play well against the Cincinnati pitching unit with Williamson. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I'm pretty sure maybe you or D-Rock have it. I don't know if you have it like right now, but the Dodgers perform really well against lefties, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but just from just off the top of my head, I think they perform well against lefties. I know Williamson throws left. So I like the over. Red have allowed 5 runs per game, while Thor, he's allowed 5+ runs in 4 of his last 5 road starts, excluding the Brewers game on May 9th because he only threw for 1 inning. So I like the over here, man. We throw the Dodgers in the parlay or something. Don't lay that big of a number. What is the run line in Munaf? You said 1.5.
-10.
Yeah, maybe just buy it up to 2. You can get plus money on that. So I wouldn't hate that, but I love the over in the game, especially the way that Thor's been pitching. I mean, Cincinnati could get to him, and I definitely believe that the Dodgers will get to Williamson.
Dylan, what do you got?
Yeah, real quick to answer Lonte's question. Dodgers hitting 230 off of lefties on the year.
Not as good as I thought.
I'm actually going to be on the other side, under 11 for me. I think just the total is just a little too high. Maybe my total 10.4. I get it. Syndergaard, he's been brutal, but you got to think he's got to turn it or be able to turn it around at some point, you know? As for the Rays, they aren't scoring a bunch of runs either to help contribute to the over. So they've gone under this number in 4 of their last 5 games. I just don't think the Reds are going to be able to help get to this over. Like I said, Dodgers only hitting 230 off of lefties. I think we see runs, maybe a 6-8, 7-8 game, but 11 is just a little outrageous for me. So give me the under.
Yeah. Lance, kind of going back to your point about Dodgers against left-handed pitching, season long, 230 against left-handed pitching, but over the last 2 weeks, they were actually number 1 in slugging percentage against left-handed pitching.
Yeah, maybe I had it confused.
They're number
I just thought they performed a decent amount.
Yeah, no, yeah, they're number 3 in team batting average against left-handed pitching over the last 2 weeks, and they're number 1 in WRC plus. That's only in 89 plate appearances, but I think that's not a bad of a sample for the LA Dodgers. So maybe they're trying to figure some things out here, but yeah, definitely can't. I'm not laying a -175 price with Syndergaard. I think that the runs off of it. So if you don't want to back aside here, I think a team total may be in order for the Cincinnati Reds in this game. I'm trying to pull up the numbers here for Noah Syndergaard. So the Dodgers are 4-7 straight up in his 11 starts, 7-4 towards the over, and they're if you want another year fee bet, 8-3 on the yes with Noah Syndergaard on the mound for the Dodgers. And then on the season for the first 5, he's also been terrible for the Dodgers. So I would probably look at a Reds team total over here. The Dodgers have lost 3 straight starts with Noah Syndergaard on the mound. Again, like I mentioned, the last game was against Patrick Corbin, where they were, I think, a very hefty favorite of -250, if I'm not mistaken. That's what I'm seeing right now. And they did lose that game outright. So maybe some value on the Reds in this game against the Dodgers and Noah Syndergaard. All right, guys, next game on the board, 7:20 Eastern start. We got the New York Mets. They are going to be in Atlanta to take on the Braves. Max Scherzer on the mound for the Mets and Charlie Morton on the mound for the Atlanta Braves. The Braves are a slight home favorite here, -120. Even money on the money line for the New York Mets. Total set at 8.5. Run line -1.5, +160 for the Mets, and +1.5, -190 for the Braves here. D-Rock, take us away.
Yeah, lines. Let me see. Lines weren't out when I. Okay, first 5 +0.5 at -105. I like that. I know Scherzer's been inconsistent on the road, and we like to back him at home. But I think we see a solid outing from him tomorrow. He's been great in his past 4 games, not allowing more than 1 run in any of those starts. And the Mets have won all of those games as well. So I'm not the biggest Uncle Charlie fan either. He isn't the best at home. The Braves, they've lost 3 of his last 3 starts. And the last time he faced the Mets earlier in the season, he gave up 4 runs in 5 innings. I think both pitchers give up runs in this game. Winds blowing out. I like the over. I set my total at 8.9, so I like the over 8.5. But I think the Mets can hang around early on. So Mets first 5 +0.5 is my bet.
Yeah, I know we talked a lot about, I think this was last week when I did back Max Scherzer and Mets. I believe it was against the, what was his last start against? Here, I have it right here. It was the Phillies, wasn't it? I believe. But Max Scherzer, he did give up a couple. Yeah, it was the Phillies. So he gave up a couple runs in that first inning off of that throw by Alvarez, which scored 2 runs. But after that, he was really solid. He's gone back-to-back starts of at least 7 innings for the Mets, and the Mets have won 5-2, 4-2 in both of those starts. And then we talked about it and Dylan, you just mentioned that his struggles have come on the road thus far this season. At home, 2-0 with a .50 ERA in 18 innings pitched. On the road, 3-2 with a 4.85 ERA, 16 earned runs he's allowed in 29 2/3 innings on the road thus far this season. So I do like your angle that first 5 for the Mets here. And I think Charlie Morton will give it up as well. He'll give up a few runs as well. So I think that this could get over the total as well. But I'm gonna back the Mets here. Give me the Mets on the money line. At even money against the Atlanta Braves. Next game on the board, 2 games left on the schedule. Here we have a 8:05 Eastern start. The St. Louis Cardinals and the Texas Rangers are facing off in Arlington. The Rangers are going to start John Gray, and the Cardinals are starting Jack Flaherty in this game. The Rangers are a -145 home favorite, +125 on the money line for the St. Louis Cardinals. Total is set at 9 with Vic towards the under at -115. Run line -1.5, +130 for the Rangers, and +1.5, -150 for the Texas Rangers and John Gray here. Start here with Jack Flaherty. He got off to a rough start early in the season, but it seems like he's kind of found his form over the past several starts for the St. Louis Cardinals. I know walks have been a huge concern for Jack Flaherty, especially at the beginning of the season. But you take a look at his last 3 starts thus far this year, and Jack Flaherty and the Cardinals are actually 2-1 in his last 3 starts, and they've actually won 4 out of his last 5 starts. His last start came against the Pittsburgh Pirates in Pittsburgh, where he went 5 1/3 inning, only allowed 1 earned run. Back-to-back starts, Jack Flaherty's only allowed 1 earned run each in those starts. And it's really been that one. And since that start against the Angels where he allowed 10 earned runs, over his last 5 starts, he's been really solid for this Cardinals team. Doesn't have a decision over his last 3 games, but he does have a 2.65 ERA. And like I mentioned, the Cardinals have actually won 4 of his last 5 starts, but he just hasn't been able to record a decision. And over his last 5 games, he has an ERA of, let's see here, 2.48. So compared to a season-long average or ERA, he's doing real well. John Gray on the other side, he has been absolutely phenomenal. We talked about that when we talked about the Jacob deGrom news. So far this season, John Gray, 6-1 with a 2.51 ERA, 51 strikeouts and 20 walks. Last 5 games, guys, he's a perfect 5-0 with a .79 ERA, 34 innings pitched, only allowed 3 earned runs in that span. He's gone at least 7 innings in 4 of his last 5 starts, and the Rangers have actually won 4 of his last 5 starts by 2 or more runs. So I think John Gray can continue pitching well here for the Rangers. I think this might be a pitcher's duel. I think that if the Rangers are able to stay patient at the plate and draw those walks against Jack Flaherty, which he has been given up. I know in back-to-back games he's only allowed 1 walk each, but I got to stay with the hot team here, man. These are 2 teams that are going in opposite directions. I'm going to back the better pitcher here, in my opinion. He's been really good over his last 5 starts. Give me the Rangers on the money line. Give me the Rangers on the run line as well at +130. I think there's some great value there, Lonte.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I couldn't put it better myself. 2 teams in opposite directions. I'm leaning towards the under, as hard as that is to do with the way Texas played at home. You mentioned the pitching numbers. I won't reiterate it, but I think both pitchers will have similar success. I mean, Flaherty's allowed 1 run or less in his last 2 road outings. Gray's allowed 1 or less in 5 straight starts. So I probably would lean to Texas in the first 5 and full game. Just split your unit up. Texas is 19-16 and 2, or 19-6 and 2. I'm sorry, on the money line at home in the first 5, whereas St. Louis is 9-16 and 7 on the road in the first 5. So I would look to play Texas early and maybe put something small on the under. I mean, I know it's hard to do, but Texas is bombs away at home. I think Flaherty will settle in if he gives up a run or two at the beginning of the game, and we'll be able to get home on this under. So I like the under. I like Texas first 5 and full game. So,
all right, D-Rock, what do you got?
Yeah, I like the Rangers. I can't disagree with you guys. I also lean over. I see 8.5s out there. I made my total 9.8. You could get Rangers at -134 over on FanDuel right now. So that's crazy good. I made the Rangers a -150 favorite. I mean, at this point, I'm just blindly taking the Rangers. So, I mean, if we continue to get these short odds, you got to keep rolling with them. They're 8-2 in their last 10. Cardinals opposite. They're 3-7. They're 13-20 on the road. Rangers, they're second best team in the league, and not to mention they're hitting 295 at home this season, which is why they're 20-8 straight up at home this season. I honestly think the Rangers could get over this total themselves. I'm not a big fan of Flaherty. I know he's been pitching all right, but I'm not high on him. I'm not going to overthink this one. Give me the Rangers on the money line.
So is the total that you got that's more baked in for Texas than it is St. Louis?
100%. Yeah, 100%.
So I don't hate that. I don't hate that. Yeah.
Yeah, I made my team total for the Rangers 5.4.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, that's okay. All right.
I do need to go back to the game between the Orioles and the Brewers. It's going to be a 7:40 Eastern start. No pitcher listed right now for the Baltimore Orioles, but Corbin Burnes is getting the start here for the Milwaukee Brewers. Do you guys see a pitcher listed for the Orioles, D-Rock or Lonte?
I thought Kramer was going.
I think Kramer's going.
Yeah, Kramer. Yeah. I thought he was going, unless I said earlier, but then I seen it go off the board. So I'm not 100% sure, but I did see Kramer on the board.
Okay, let me refresh my page here. Maybe they put out.
Yeah, I mean it might have went off, but this was earlier in the day, probably right
I got
around.
lines.
Yeah. Okay.
I do see Corbin is a -135 home favorite, +115 on the money line for the Baltimore Orioles. Total is set at 8.5. A little bit of vig towards the under at -115. Run line -1.5, +140 for the Brewers, and +1.5, -165 for the Baltimore Orioles. So let's handicap this game on the fly here. So Corbin Burnes has had his struggles this far this season when I was digging into his numbers. But I think Corbin Burnes has been a pitcher for me, at least when I'm handicapping, that I'm more comfortable backing when he's at home. His last start was against the Cincinnati Reds, where he did go 6 innings, allowed 3 earned runs. He did give up 4 walks, but only allowed 2 hits in that game. So a little head scratching there. And his previous start was against the Giants. He did pitch pretty well in that game as well. 7 innings, only allowed 1 earned run, but again, did give up 3 walks. Didn't get any run support in that game, where the Brewers only scored 1 run in that game. But at home so far this season, he is 2-1 with a 4.05 ERA. 33 1/3 innings pitched at home. He's allowed 15 earned runs, but 5 of those earned runs came in a game against the Houston Astros. Now, I don't want to say we could toss that out the window because it is the Astros and they are one of the better offenses in the league. But in that game, he did give up 4 home runs to the Houston Astros. And that's the most he's allowed. I don't know in how long. Also worth noting that Corbin Burnes has been really good up against American League teams in his career. I know I mentioned the Astros right now, but I'm trying to pull up the numbers here in his career against American League teams. Corbin Burnes in his career against American League's teams with a 2.01 ERA. He's already faced 5 American League teams thus far this season. And in those starts this season, he is 3-1 with a 3.29 ERA. And again, that ERA is a little bit inflated just because of that, what I mentioned against the Houston Astros. But he has wins against the Mariners, the Angels, and the Royals thus far this season. In those games against the American League teams. Dean Kramer, like you guys mentioned, does get the start here for the Baltimore Orioles. Looking at his numbers thus far this season, 6-2 with a 4.43 ERA. On the road this season, he is 3-1 with a 3.94 ERA, 32 innings pitched, 14 earned runs allowed. The Orioles have won 4 of his last 5 games. The only loss did come against the Texas Rangers, where he did allow 3 earned runs and 6 1/3 innings pitched. But other than that, he's been really solid for the Baltimore Orioles. I feel like this is a discounted price on Corbin Burns. So I'm going to go with the Corbin Burns here, minus 135 on the money line. Again, I like that he's at home. I like he's going up against the American League team that he does have success against. And I think Dean Kramer can probably give up a few runs here, but I expect a good performance from Corbin Burns here in this game. So I'll take the Brewers minus 135 on the money line here, Lonte.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go the other way. Nothing strong, though. I think Kramer is one of the more underrated pitchers that we have in the league. He's been really good on the road. He's allowed 2 or less in his last 3 road starts against 2 of the better, lineups in the MLB with Toronto and Atlanta. And you mentioned the Corbin Burns. Outside of that bombs away that Houston did on him, he's been excellent at home, allowing 2 runs or less in 4 of his last 5. I just think that it's going to be a defensive type of game. Both of these pitchers are going to be locked in. We don't know what Milwaukee's offense struggles mightily. And Baltimore, I think, are good on both sides of the ball. They play really well on the road. I think they have a better better road record than they do at home. I think this is a perfect game, defensive game. So I love the under. I could see like a 2-1 either way. But I'll take the plus money with Baltimore. Also love the first 5. Kramer, top 5 most profitable pitchers in the first 5, 7-3-2 on the season. So I'll probably take a full unit, put it on the first 5, and take a full unit and have it on the under.
All right, D-Rock, what do you got?
Yeah, just to kind of agree with both of you, I do think there's value in Baltimore, and I also do like the under. I made my total 7.9. I do think we're getting a discounted price with Corbin Burns. He has pitched better, but Dean Kramer, he's been one of the most underrated pitchers, especially on this roster. He's great on the road, like Lonte said. So I think we see a pitching matchup. No first 5 lines out just because the lines literally just came out. So maybe look towards the first 5 under if we were able to get like a 3.5 or 4. I like that. But yeah, I kind of lean under, and I if gun to my head, I would take the plus price with the Orioles.
All right, 2 games left on the board here. Let's go to a 9:40 Eastern start between the San Francisco Giants and the Colorado Rockies. Logan Webb is getting the start here for the Giants, and I don't see a pitcher for the Rockies. Actually, I do. Connor Siebold is getting the start here for the Colorado Rockies. D-Rock, did you have anything for this game?
No, just because I didn't have a pitcher for the Rockies, but Seabold is going. I mean, plus 170 at home. I think that's a good price right now for the Rockies. 11, the total seems kind of small as well. I would lean under, especially in altitude. But yeah, just off the top of my head, I mean, I can't back Logan Webb at over $2.
Yeah, Logan Webb has had success against the Rockies. I'm trying to filter this down. Let's see if we can see it on the road here. So in his career, 3-1 with a 4.59 ERA. His last start was back in September 2022 in Colorado, where he did go 5 1/3 innings, allowed only 1 hit and 0 earned runs against the Rockies there. Prior to that, he had given up at least 3 earned runs in 4 straight starts in Colorado. So, yeah, I wasn't able to handicap this game either without official pitcher for the Rockies. But Lonte, did you have anything?
Yeah, I didn't, but I'm leaning with D-Rock. I can't lay that big of a number with Logan Webb, but what I will do is play his total outs prop and a K prop. He's pitched 6+ innings in his last 10 games. He's given up 2 or less in 7 of the last 8 games. So I probably would look at more so some Logan Webb K props and his total outs prop. Those are not out yet, but those are the 2 things that I'll be on pretty heavily in this game. But like D-Rock said, I mean, I wouldn't trust him laying that big of a number. I'd probably lean to Colorado at the number, but love Logan Webb and his K props tomorrow.
All right, last game on the board, gentlemen. We got the Chicago Cubs, 9:38 Eastern start. Chicago Cubs, they are taking on the LA Angels. Jameson Taillon gets to start here for the Chicago Cubs, and Jaime Barria gets to start here for the LA Angels. Angels are a minus 135 home favorite, plus 115 on the money line for the Chicago Cubs. Total set at 9 with a little bit of big towards the over at minus 120. Run line minus 1.5, plus 140 for the Angels, and plus 1.5, minus 165 for the Cubbies here. Jameson Taillon, I did fade him in his last start against the Padres. Didn't work out well for me. I should have known better because it was the Padres, but it was by far his best start of the season, or second best start of the season. 5 2/3 innings pitched in that game. He only allowed 3 hits and allowed only 1 earned run in that game. The Cubs did win the game 2-1. against the Padres. But prior to that, the Cubs had lost 9 straight starts, or 9 starts in a row where he has started for the Cubbies. But I think this is a game where we probably see the old Jameson Taillon against this LA Angels offense. Jaime Barria, like I mentioned, is going to get the start here for the LA Angels. Thus far on the season, he is 2-2 with a 1.59 ERA at home, 1-2 with a 0.60 ERA. They've been using him more in a hybrid role. He does have 2 starts in 2 of his last 3 games for the Angels, and the Angels have won 2 of those 3 games. His last start came against the Chicago White Sox in Chicago, where the Angels won the game 12-5. In that game, he threw 5 innings, allowed only 1 earned run off of 4 hits for the Angels. So I think this one's pretty simple for me. I think this is a discounted price here on the Angels. I'm going to lay the chalk here, -135. I don't hate the run line either, -1.5, +140 for the Angels against Taillon. So I do think that we see the Taillon that we've been used to seeing this season for the Cubs. So Angels for me here, D-Rock.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Munaf. Give me the Angels -135 on the money line. Like you said, very discounted price we're getting with the Angels. I made him a -170 favorite. Taillon is another one of those pitchers where you just can't back. Don't let the last start fool you. It was against the Padres, who can't really hit, and Barria, he's pitched really well in the month of May, and I think he can limit the Cubs bats. I think the Angels, they get back to their winning ways. They're not playing the best baseball right now, but I think this is a good series for them to get back into the win column. So I agree with you. I'll take the Angels on the money line, -135.
Lonte.
Yeah, I'll make the consensus, man. I'm with you with the Angels. I think it's a little bit of a short price. I think Jameson's been bad on the road. I mean, he got his first win, but you guys pretty much laid it out. And the Padres, inconsistent as it gets, as we highlighted in the earlier breakdown of their game. And small sample size, Barria has been solid on the mound, 1.59 ERA, 0.91 WHIP, and 34 to 8 strikeout to walk ratio. So he's been pretty solid. I like the Halos here. I like the over. They've been over in 6 of the last 10. Struggling offensively, but I think they get the bats going against Jameson here tomorrow, I guess, in tomorrow's matchup.
All right, so that is the betting card for the Wednesday schedule. Last order of business before we do in the show, it's going to be our lock and dog for the Wednesday schedule. D-Rock, you want to lead us off?
Yeah, let me start with one of the games we talked about earlier in the show. I'm going to go with the Mariners Padres under 8. I got 8.5. I just think this is extremely high. It's made my total 7.6. Padres in the unders 19-39 on the season. And the Padres, they're only hitting 211 off a righty. So I think this is a good spot for the Mariners and George Kirby. So I'm going to go towards the under for my lock. As for my dog, I did give out some home puppies, but the best that I like, I'm going to fade Zach Davies. I'm going to take the Nationals at this plus price. I got a +135. I still think you could get plus money out there. Patrick Corbin, he's been backable, and I think he will give us another backable start at home where, the D-backs, they're hitting, but, he hasn't allowed more than 2 runs at home in his last 3 starts. So going to fade Zach Davies. He's only had 1 start on the road. I want to see a little more out of him. So give me the Nationals as my dog, and as my lock, I'll take the Mariners and Padres under.
Lonte, what do you got?
Yeah, man. So for my lock, I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Pirates on the run line, -1.5, +120. I like them a lot in this spot. Both teams going in opposite directions. Obviously, Pittsburgh won 6 straight. Oakland can't win a day game. Munaf read off the numbers earlier. 0-20. Was that 26?
23.
That they were 23. Well, they'll
be
24
26 soon. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're just speaking it into the future. So yeah, I like that as my lock. As for my dog, I'm gonna go with the Baltimore Orioles. I know Corbin Burns is really good at home. I think this Baltimore team has a special brewing, especially on the road. It goes to show that they're somewhat of a younger team, and they just come together on the road, one of the better road records in the MLB. So I think they come in. It'll be a tough battle. I think in close games. They'll get a little bit more experience in close games than Milwaukee does. So I like Baltimore a lot here. So I'll play them. I see +120 as a small road dog here.
All right. For my lock, I am gonna go with the LA Angels on the money line. Do see a minus 135 price on them. Just gonna go back to fading Jameson Tyone. He's going up against an offense with Otani, with Trout, Taylor Ward, Anthony Rendon. Those guys have, I think, will have success against Jameson Tyone. I think his last start against the Padres was a bit of an outlier. I think the Padres were coming back from Miami in that first start against or back home against Jameson Tyone. But I think we'll see the guy that we've been used to seeing throughout the season. He'll give up the runs to the Angels. And, Jaime Barria has been, I think, better pitcher at home for the Angels. So I'm going to take the Angels on the money line, minus 135. For my dog, give me the Miami Marlins, minus 1.5, plus 115 is what I'm seeing on DraftKings right now. Simply fading Jordan Lyles. I don't need to get into the numbers again, but on the road, he's been very bad. Make sure you're getting on that your fee where it is 11 out of 12 games where it has cashed for starts with Jordan Lyles. And I do expect the Marlins to do put up runs against the Royals and against Jordan Lyles, at least, especially that he is on the road. So lock Angels minus 135 on the money line. And then my dog is going to be the Marlins on the run line, minus 1.5, plus 115 for the Wednesday card. All right, gentlemen. About an hour 15, a little less than that here. I know we talked about some pitchers with the Jacob deGrom news and things like that. So if you weren't able to get to that, we talked about Jacob deGrom at the top of the show. But D-Rock, anything else you want to mention before we get out of here, bud?
No, I just gotta go to fucking bed, man. I'm dying out here. But other than that, everyone, good luck on your bets. And yeah, I think last time we were all on a show last week, I think we either swept the board or because we all gave out plus price lock and dog. So hopefully we have another successful pod.
Yeah, D-Rock's about to take a bottle of NyQuil and wake up in 2 days. So if we don't hear from him, he's probably still knocked out in bed. Lonte, anything else, my man?
Nah, man, I got nothing else. I hope you feel better, D-Rock. Hey, man, this is your flu game. You're gonna sweep the board tonight, Michael Jordan style. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to the card tonight and tomorrow. So hopefully we can get some wins, stay hot. I think we've been doing pretty well over the past week and a half. So I hope we can keep that going and keep listeners' pockets fat for rolling it into football season.
Yeah, 100% agree. I know it's starting to get to the dog days this summer, but we're here for the MLB season. Hopefully we can build your guys' bankrolls as we kind of progress through the summer months here for the MLB. So if you haven't already subscribed to the MLB Gambling Podcast, wherever you listen to it, whether it's on Spotify, whether it's on Apple. And again, if you haven't already subscribed to the YouTube channel here on for the MLB Gambling Podcast, please do so. Before you guys get out of here, please like the video for the stream here. It really helps us out. We'll be back tomorrow in some form or fashion for the Thursday games. I know shorter car on Thursday, but we'll be here as usual at 5 p.m. Eastern time. All right, guys, good luck with your bets. Let's break these books off and let it ride.